What?
Have you been keeping up with the origami competition?
No.
No.
No?
It must be a
It's on
joke.
pay-per-view. It's on pay-per-view.
Well, that's a problem.
Oh.
Sorry.
No bad joke.
You would be disappointed if I didn't.
285.
Okay. We have a handful of things we need to do. And I am also trying to keep track of everybody that's coming in and admit people and so on. But we've got a couple of things that are happening. One thing that has happened is that Crystal has found herself in a situation where she can no longer keep bringing in demonstrators and has resigned her position. So we need somebody to pick up the position of vice president for demonstrations. Right? That's, you know, we need somebody to do that, and we need somebody to do that right quick. Okay? So think about that, you know, puzzle over it, decide if you think that's something you can do, and step up, let me know, let anybody on the board know.
Hey,
and,
Jim,
yes.
may I jump in for a moment?
Please do.
On the subject of getting that done quick, so I know it's difficult.
So much for that.
But if I could propose something for next month, we get together,
We can't get
meeting
in.
just like this, but maybe have one or two people do it on their phone and give a tour of their shop.
Yeah, that is exactly what I had in mind, great minds and all of that. We take 2 or 3 people and designate them and get some volunteers, and we do a shop tour via phone over Zoom. I think that would be a wonderful way to spend the next meeting. Yeah, Holsey?
Yeah, if you're not talking on the far left, just mute it so the background noise, so the speaker can be heard better. There's a mute button on the bottom left. So if you're not talking, it's...
Bob, you put yours on mute before you stop talking.
I want me to talk. Just put it on mute if you're not talking.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's plan on doing that for the next meeting, and then we'll put it together what we're going to do for the one after that. And so what I need is 3 or 4 people to step up and say, yeah, I'd be perfectly willing to take my phone out in the shop and show what a mess it is. You know, I can perhaps do that. I know that I know we can rely on Duxbury to do that. See how I volunteered you, Jim? And,
it's worse than that. I don't have a phone.
oh well. But anyhow,
Yeah, by then.
let's do something like that. Right. Another piece of news that is consequential is I have found myself in a position where I have to step down, and if I will run the next month's meeting, and beginning in July, it's on somebody else. Right? And so somebody has got to step up and take this. It's just that simple. I can't do this. I've reached to the end. Right? And so someone's going to have to step up and take the position. Luke, you look pretty good sitting up there in my upper right-hand corner. Anyhow, you don't have to say a word. On a lighter note, a bear walked into a bar and asked for a beer and a whiskey. And the barkeep pulled him the beer and pulled him the whiskey, and he said, I don't mean to be nosy, but why the big pause? He said, well, I don't know, just born with them, I guess. Well, that's no fun. You've got your mics off and I can't hear you laughing. Anyhow, the objective this evening is one, to find out how everybody's doing. And I'm assuming that by the fact that you're here, you're not ill and holed up somewhere, you know, in the hospital or some such. Do we know of anyone in the club who has succumbed to this virus or who has other health problems that we need to be concerned about? I mean, we've got the usual suspects. All of us have got one thing or another, you know, but beyond normal. No? Okay. The program for this evening, if you will, is everybody was to, not everybody, but pretty much everybody was to have brought something or other that you have created during this downtime and share it with the group so we can see what you're doing. If you don't have anything to share with the group that you've created to show, you know, for a instant gallery, then how's it going in the shop? What's going on with what's happening in your shop, right? Now, what I'm going to have to do, I've got a couple of emails that have come in of people that are trying to get in. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to duck out of here, and I'm going to have to let you guys carry on with, you know, showing your work and talking about the shop. I'm still in here and I'm still listening, but I've got to duck out and talk to somebody else. So I've got to go mute here for a minute. Luke, could I get you to take over for a few minutes?
Yes, I got the ball, Jim.
All right, thank you.
I've been having a lot of extra time during the quarantine to be in the shop, and some days it's just plain cleaning up, and some days it's making sawdust. One of the things I've created recently is,
What was that?
this is a
Yeah, no.
a jewelry necklace holder.
Oh, yeah.
I can't find you. Where?
It's got a place for your rings and stuff in the bottom. And it's got some holders for your necklaces at the top. So it's about, like I say, it'll hold a good necklace. Where my wife and daughter had come up with the idea, and they typically provide sketches, and I provide woodwork. So this is one of the things that I've worked on. And another one is a segmented bowl made out of some walnut out of a 150-year-old barn up around Bristol, Tennessee, walnut and maple.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Yep, that's pretty good.
That's really nice work.
Thank you. And that's my pieces that I brought.
Luke,
Yes.
talk about the pattern.
Okay. The pattern of the segmented bowl.
Yes.
Well, an experienced woodworker could see how I messed it up. When I was gluing, I glued, it was supposed to be a straight pattern. This one was my first layer I glued. This one was the second layer. This one was the third layer. And then 2/3 of the way this layer, it should have been over here instead of over here. But that's my eye, and some of y'all might have caught that, how the pattern is messed up. So it appears like it's some kind of fancy pattern, but it's a messed up, straight up pattern.
Looks great to me.
It reminds me of a native Indian basket weaving pattern. So ceramic pattern. So I was impressed.
It does. It's 15 segment. So it was
actual shell.
Oh, yeah.
maple and walnut.
Look at that.
Well, thank you. I'll call it my Native American bowl then. Now it's not
There
messed
you
up
go.
anymore.
Really should. It's quite beautiful, Luke.
Thank you. Thank you. It's about 10 inches in diameter and about 3.5 tall.
While we're on.
Yeah.
The vice president of the club resigned.
Yeah.
The president of the club resigned.
Eventful meeting.
What?
Eventful.
Better than football, for the recap.
Yeah. All right, who's next?
I'll go. This is Earl Martin. I'm the first on the list, I think, there.
Well, I can go if somebody else doesn't want
Uh-huh.
to. So Earl's going, okay.
You come back on. Can you guys see me or not?
Too close.
Can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you
Okay.
go.
All right. This is in fact, I made two of these. They're not exactly alike, but it's a candle holder, and I don't have a finish on it yet. But I made it by using, I cut 1/4-inch strips of various kinds of wood and glued them all together. And then I turned that on its side and cut 1/4-inch strips again. And then I came in between and I put some colored veneer in. I don't know if you can see that or not. And then I glued all that up, and then I hadn't turned it. And I have 2 of them here. So,
What happened?
pardon?
I wanted to see this here. I want to see this.
And let's see, then I have a bowl here I did. And you can see each side is different.
Beauty.
And what I did was I had a square, this is 3/4 of an inch. I did like 3 of these, and when I got it all planed down, it came out a little bit less than that. But I want to do a 2-inch one next time and make it, because you got to catch. Let me see. Here's one here I did, and I didn't catch the curve right. Where I was better with this curve here, so that it came out looking more like, you know, the center thing there, where this one here is off. You can see if I had come around a little bit more on here, this would have popped back out. So anyway, I made these are just experiments, and I made this one here, and I guess this was a little bit off because that side has got a small dot. This side's got a much bigger dot. And then that one there and that one there. But I've just been experimenting around with that, and none of these have got a finish on them, but I've been experimenting around with that. And the next one I do, I'm going to have a 2-inch. These pieces here are going to be 2 inches wide when I glue them up on a 4x4. And then I put the top on there so that when I come around with my arc here, that they'll come out more like this one here, with these things showing in it like that. Other than that, I put some. I had some fluorescent lights in my shop. They were 4-footers, 2 bulbs per light, and I tore all those out, and I put in LED 8-footers. I got 10 of them in there, and when I throw the light switch on, I have to wear sunglasses. So, but I can see now. It was fun, but my shop's a mess. So,
If it's okay, I'll go next.
who's
Julian.
this?
Who's speaking?
Go ahead.
Julian. I wish I could make more meetings, but I have a music profession that interferes with my capacity to participate in the woodturners meetings. I'm real glad I'm here tonight. I wish I could do more. And incidentally, whoever winds up in charge of demonstrations, I'd appreciate it if you'd get in touch with me, because I have an idea of doing one. So if somebody, whoever winds up with that job, I'd appreciate you contacting me and see if it makes any sense. I had a person give me a tree that had been struck by lightning. It was a walnut tree, several years ago. And of course, I put it up and let it age. And I took a piece of it and decided to put a lightning strike in it. And this is all George Suderman's fault, see, because he started this stuff. Anyway, so, and he sold me some fantastic materials that helped me get along with all this. But I put this lightning bolt in this piece of wood. It's inlaid turquoise. And then I turned it upside down. By God, it looks just like a tree. And this is a tree that got struck by lightning. And all that just happened to occur by coincidence. I hope it'll show up on the camera, but I bet there's not enough light in here.
Yes, I
Oh,
do.
yeah.
Well, I haven't got,
Pull it back a little bit. There you go.
I don't know, you can't really see that,
Can you do that?
You can see it.
but the turquoise lightning bolts coming down out of the edge of the bowl, obviously, it's pretty good stuff. But when you turn it the other way, by God, it's a tree. I planned on that. And it's made of a piece of wood from a tree that was struck by lightning. Now, that's too many coincidences. This has divine provenance. Anyway, I hope somebody will get in touch with me about an upcoming demo. I don't know when we're going to be back together. Seems to me like we did COVID protocol in that big spot out there. It might be possible, but I don't know what their rules are. But
They're closed.
oh gosh. Well, for the future references anyway, of planning for this thing to get out of the way so we can, I'd like that person to get in touch with me, please. Thank you.
I'd like to say something. I appreciate what Crystal has done with the organizing and bringing in the demonstrators. She's done a fantastic job, and I hate to see you go. And Jim has been holding our club together. So we got two people that are going to be hard to replace, but I hope somebody will step up and do those jobs.
Thanks. Thanks so much, Earl. I appreciate that. I really do. It was a wonderful adventure it was, but I just slid into this meeting, just came in from work, and it's intense and crazy, and I just don't have time, and that's not fair to you guys. So
yeah, we're seeing about your glasses up on there, so maybe you might have taken.
He's crying.
Yeah. So you are working then, huh?
My wife.
yeah, I have not gone to work. I've been at work every single day during the outbreak. We're heating and air, so we're essential, and it's kind of intense and crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have had some very, very fine people running the bringing in of demonstrators, and I don't know that we've ever had anybody do it any better than Crystal has done it. And
That's
I, for
right.
one, am just really sorry to see her stepping down. But at the same time, I completely understand. And so, do the club a favor.
That looks like you.
Do not go away from the club. Just go away from the position.
See, there you are.
We need you as a member, whether we have you as a VP or not.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
I hope they can't hear you.
Is it
So
what?
Who's got something else?
I can go next if that's all right.
Go ahead, Nim.
Okay, so The other day, my wife said something to me, which I guess most wood turners don't ever hear. She was sitting at the dinner table and she said, "I sure do wish I had a salt shaker." And so the next day I went out in the shop and made this little thing. It's about 8 inches tall, just has a hole drilled through it and just turned on the, on the axis. Put a little, salt thing on the top, and a few minutes later she had her salt mills, or a little salt shaker. So, but you don't often hear that, because that's the sort of thing that everybody just has bundles of them around, I suspect. But she wanted one that would fit her hand, and so I made this little one.
Good for you, bud.
Nim, is that a shaker or a grinder?
It's a shaker.
Okay.
So it just has a hole drilled through it. It's just as simple as it gets.
Gotcha.
The other thing I made was this little thing here, which has the design of a Japanese lantern. So the feet, you can probably see, let me put a white background here or something. Oh, you can see the feet there have, and then on the roof part, let me get out of the way here. Anyway, so the lid pops off, and of course and this is a salt caddy that I have on my cabinet in the kitchen. But the roof part, I made 2 of these before and kind of screwed them up, and I talked to Jim Barber about how to do it better. But I had to, focus on getting the angle consistent across this roof here. And then the step between each of the layers, I wasn't exact before in terms of getting those to be, 8 millimeters each. And this time I was able to do that better this time because I figured out how to go about it. So anyway, that's what I have made there. And the other 2 projects I've been involved with, the Alamance Maker Guild and the Elon Makerspace and several others in the community had gotten together, and we 3D printed and put together some face shields. And we put together 1,100 of them that we then sent out to the local hospital for personal protection gear. And Jim Duxbury was involved out of our group in doing that as well. And then finally, the other thing I did was, it's not having anything to do with woodworking, but I did an electronics project that I hooked up to my mailbox so that when the postman opens the mailbox, I get a text message telling me that I have mail. So anyway, well, that's what I've been up to, and a lot of different projects, but just playing around. And doing some community good as well, so.
Very cool.
Well, along that line, Nim was making these face shields. They printed them out, and Rita and I cut out the face shield. We had, I thought there were 1,300, but the number varied with some scrap here and there. But anyway, it was a great project, a lot of fun. I could show mine. Rita's here too, but she won't go on it. A while ago, we were going to have in show and tell, we were going to have something that's not turned. So I don't know if I can show this. Can you see that? That's an infinity cube. And this is a prototype for a turned one, which I'll make next. But anyway, can you see what it is?
Yes.
Sort of.
Cool.
And
you're going to turn that?
My next one will be turned, yeah. Actually, I've got it done. I'm writing an article on it, so I can't show it. Anyway, one of the things I've been doing with all the spare time is you get on YouTube, and I've always loved physics, and I've had a chance to get really into it. And there's a Walter Lewin on there, and I I now know how to calculate momentum and velocities and all kinds of fun things. It's been really great. It's been a good time. So if you make use of the time, which I happen to think over the next few months, we're going to have a lot of it probably. But I've read 2 books of his and they're really great. So anyway, another world.
I'm ready to go.
Go.
Hey, Jim. So I don't know if you can see this. This is bathe. This is from the black walnut that we harvested over in Greensboro after Florence. And whoop, my rose fell out. So this is a cracked piece that was banded with silver wire and came out real nice. And then this was another vase I did for Mother's Day.
Oh, how cool.
Again, this is the same walnut tree. It's actually the other half of that piece. And that was from Greensboro. And I thought I made a piece and I gave it away almost like 8 hours after I finished it. And I thought there was a way for me to get content here. Because I do have a picture of it, but I'm not sure how to do it. It's not a.
I think it's called share screen, is you have to bring it up on your computer and hit share screen.
Okay. So, well, okay, I can't find it now. Share computer sound. Optimize desktop. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, it's within the parameters of Zoom. Down the more you kind of where you mute.
Where you mute?
Or down where it says chat.
And so there's a green box with an arrow.
Yeah, is that share content? That's right next to it. But I can't get to my photo files. I'm not sure how to do that.
Okay.
So if
You
I
need a grandkid to help you.
I know, right?
So did you grow those roses?
Yes.
Those are stunning.
Oh, thank you. This one is particularly nice.
Wow.
It's a pretty long yellow stem rose, but they just came in like gangbusters this year. It's been great. So that was for my daughters. Actually, I have 2 other smaller vases I made for my 2 daughters, and they were Mother's Day gifts too. So, oh, I see. There's a share screen, but why can't I get to my picture files now? So, and to make matters worse, I'm working on a new Apple book, or a Apple Pro book. What do you call it? Mac Pro book, which I just got. So naturally, I can't find anything. But I've been busy. I'm keeping up there.
Can I go next, Dave?
Go ahead.
Okay. I've been turning some cool things. People have been giving me wood like crazy. Someone just gave me some nice pieces of Chinaberry. I'm worried about the poisonous nature of Chinaberry, so I wear masks and dust collectors. It's a really pretty wood, but what they gave me was super green. Anyway, I have some grandchildren and Christmas is coming up. So I've been making little animals for my grandchildren. And so here are 2 of my little animals. It's not going to work. I got to work this. Ta-da. Okay, here's one. Minimal turning, a little bit of wood burning. And the other one is this one. Anybody guess what animal that is?
An owl?
How about an owl?
An owl. Well, anyway, so I made all kinds of. I made an anteater. I made lions and tigers and all kinds of cool things. And then I did finish somebody's walnut tree fell down. They gave me some pieces, and so I did this guy. which is just
Cool.
very basic.
Nice.
It was green when I turned it and carved it, and now it's dry.
Can you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh,
using your lathe and an indexing tool, and then a little bit of files and that is pretty easy. But yeah, my wife and I've been doing a lot of walking, and as I say, I've been collecting wood like crazy. People just keep calling me up. We got some wood for you, so it seems to come in waves. I get a bunch of wood, then I don't get any. Anyway, so that's basically what I've been doing.
Can I go?
Go.
Okay, let's see if I can do this. Okay, I will take you guys' really, really beautiful segmented pieces and inlaid pieces and raise you an unsupported three-legged stool. So I needed something for my bathroom, just to, I don't hold the precious toilet paper pretty much. So it probably won't hold more than 3 pounds. It's walnut. It has a horrible crack in it. So I put in something that wouldn't hold it together, but made it look like it would. So this was my project that I managed to make, and it's still standing.
Looks
And
good.
it's level in 2 directions. So other than
girl.
that, I've made about 5 baby blankets for people. So this is what I'm actually good at. Wood turning is just what I do for fun. This I'm actually good at. So that's what I've been doing. Okay, I'm gonna mute myself. Thank you.
That's beautiful.
And that's nice.
Thank you.
Nice job.
So this is Steve. I can go if it's okay.
Go ahead.
So I've been helping my dad rebuild the front porch of my grandma's old farmhouse. The house is old, and my dad's about 80, so he needs some help. And we placing the floor on it, and we had to, once we jacked it up and got it level again, we had to cut the posts off. So one of the posts I cut off of the pole had about 2 inches, 2.5 inches of wood, and I was able to make this little pine bowl. You can still see some of the nail holes in it around the edge. Some of them still even have the white paint in it from that was on the wall that they painted. So this is a really special piece to me. And I got one more. It's somebody gave me some wood. I thought it was a white oak, but it turned out to be poplar, so it wasn't that pretty. It was kind of dull looking. So I ended up taking it and painted the inside of it white, painted the outside of it a teal color. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's got a brushed finish. I turned it on the lathe and held a wire brush to it to create sort of a texture. So just been kind of playing around with some texturing and stuff. So that's one of the other pieces I made recently. And other than that, I've just been very, very busy beekeeping. Caught several swarms and did several bee removals from a few homes recently. So it's easy to practice social distancing when you're handling 20,000 bees out in public. So that's about it.
How many hives do you have?
I've got 8 right now.
So this is right here. I see me here, but can you see the picture I posted of a bowl with a top?
Let's see.
No, it's not coming up.
It's me. It's
Hang on.
We see you, but not your picture.
Okay. Well, I have no idea then.
Nice try, though.
Well, we won't figure this out yet.
Who else has got something?
I can go next.
Go ahead.
I have a piece of red mallee from, can you see it?
You have to hold up a little higher.
Up.
There you go.
From Australia, very, very hard wood. and that's the back. But not to be outdone, you can hopefully see it. There's a tree in it.
Oh, cool.
And I didn't see it until after I had finished turning it. So it's pretty.
Well, it's hard to see when it's spinning that fast.
It's what?
It's hard to see that tree when it's spinning so fast.
Yeah. So that was fun. My granddaughter's here from Rwanda. Her husband works for the government, and she's 16 months old. And I've been doing a little wood carving, and I joined the wood carving club, and we make these little comfort birds, and we give them to Ronald McDonald's house. So I figured, okay, this is my first comfort bird, and I gave it to my granddaughter, and what she proceeded to do, I never thought of this, I don't know if you can see it, but she
Hold it up.
Look at the tail. It's all chewed up. I had to take it back and it's splintered. I don't know if she's got really sharp teeth, but it's basswood, so it's very soft material. I've been doing a bunch of wood carving during the hiatus here. Next.
All right. I don't know if my audio is working. Is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
It is.
A couple months ago, we had this demonstration on hummingbird houses. And we were supposed to make one. And this is kind of the size, right?
Yeah, heard.
Well, this isn't mine. This is the store bought. And around here, we've got little hummingbirds. So I made it. So I made one, but it's kind of for pygmy hummingbirds. I had some cedar out and back. I took a little piece off of it and had a popular scrap piece laying around, and just that you can hang it and you can put a little stand on the bottom. So you can hang it.
That's nice.
Looks good.
So that was my warm up. And then my wife has this thing about, she sees something and says, well, you could do that. So and I'm beginning on this stuff. I played with it a long time ago, and I'm just experimenting now. And I started with the little hummingbird, and I did some legs for some high chairs, things like that. In fact, I did a spigot for my brother's railing that he broke up in New Hampshire. I did it, mailed it up to him. And then my wife came home with a picture. Well, you could do this. And it goes to the knitting. So I got a piece of rosewood.
Right.
And this is, I mean, the proportions didn't come out the way I wanted it, but it was the first good try. And it doesn't hold a full ball of yarn, it holds a half. So then you go down the project where, okay, let's get one that'll hold the big one. And I just happened to be out looking at wood yesterday, and I picked up a piece of soft maple, and I still have to put the little cutout in yet and finish it off. And then you have, again, well, you can make this. So, and I heard it before, earlier here, about Christmas presents. So this is what I'm doing with the, it's a spoon for the kitchen.
Oh, cool.
And it's a little heart shaped and made a little curve in the bottom. But she's got a list of, I don't know how many right now that I have to make for Christmas time. and this, once I get the right size, I've got 3 of them to make already. My sister's going to retire and move down here, and she likes knitting and crocheting and Afghans, and my wife does the same thing. So they're going to have their own woman's cave or whatever you call it. So I'm making utensils for it. And that's what I've been playing with.
Lauren, we saw the lips move. Turn your mic on.
She shed. That's right.
She shed. There we go. Okay, everybody. Some of you are talking about things that you made that are not turned. And here, not long back, I got a commission to make a thing for Elon. And then when that piece of red mallee popped up, I thought, well, let me go grab that and see if anybody's interested in seeing this piece of red mallee that I worked over. Here's what we've got. I don't know how well you can read it. There we go.
Oh, nice.
But anyhow, it has been brought up to flat and then engraved and then gold inlay. And then this is a symbol for the current, they just finished the initial phase of a fundraising activity. And this is for the guy who was in charge of the initial phase. And this little piece right here, I made lapel pins like this that are carved, and they're carved out of oak that grew on the campus. It was a tree that was 150 years old when it came down 30 some years ago.
Yeah.
And then the bottom is cut to a 5 degree so that it'll lean back a little bit when it sits. And it has a removable sliding dovetail.
Oh, good.
For it,
in case you want to hang it up.
Okay, you can pack it up and ship it. Well, we got somebody's bowl, right? So you can pack it up and ship it.
That's me.
And, or if you wanted to hang it up.
Yeah. You know, if you
Anyhow, there's a piece of red mallee.
That's pretty. I was going to say, if you right click and click on the pin video, it makes the image full screen. So I could read it very well on your, you know, so if you right click on on your video and click pin video, it makes it full screen.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see.
Now
There's probably a way to do that on the iPad too, but I don't know what it is.
I'm saying I can do that to your video and see it on my screen large.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm working on an iPad, so I don't have a right click.
Okay.
Yeah, I got an iPad too. So.
That didn't work.
Laptop, Steve. It works.
All right, who's up next?
Phil can go.
What?
Phil?
Me?
No, me.
Oh,
Phil.
you.
Philback.
Oh, Phil.
Phil. Okay, my lathe is at the forge, and the forge is closed. But before the forge closed, I did an egg because I like to do these, and I've kind of figured out how I need to do them and stuff. So I did this. Next,
Wait.
I was working on my practice part that was for the turner of the month for April, which was an egg on a stand. So this was my practice piece, and then they closed, so I didn't get a piece that I really wanted to give away. I don't have a lathe to work on. So this is made out of a single piece of wood. It's kind of hard to see with this one, but if you've got more than like a piece of cedar that has the sapwood and the hardwood, you can really see that this was one piece that grew together, and it's not two separate pieces. So
Can you hold it up higher?
I'm sorry?
Hold it up higher. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this one, it's kind of light on the two colors, but I was just using it for practice so that I could figure out the shape that I wanted to work with. So I still need to do it, but I need the forge to open so that I have a lathe to use.
The forge is open.
Oh, it is.
You need to reserve time, and you probably won't have a problem accessing the lathes.
Okay. Well, the last time I was in there, I was the only one in the shop, so it was really, really nice.
It's going to be like that for a while.
Okay, cool. Good. Then I've got stuff that I can do. And because I won the $10 gift certificate at one point in time from craft supplies. You spend $10 and you spend 100. So I bought a texturing tools. And I need to learn how to use these.
Well, I like that bird. I got one of those.
So the last couple months, since they have taken my hobbies away, the wood turning, since I don't have a lathe in my apartment, and jumping out of airplanes has been closed until this past weekend. I've ridden my bike a lot. I've never ridden as much. So from just March, since the beginning of March, I think I've ridden my bike around 650 miles.
Wow.
I had never done that before, but I started just 2 years ago after I got laid off from my previous job in Kansas. I needed to show something for my time off other than wasting the time totally away. And I did like 870 miles there. Then I moved here to Greensboro, bought a new bike last April, and have 1,700 miles on it since a year, 13 months. So I have been doing that a lot. And soon to go see my family back in Kansas in this weekend for about a week or so. I am working out of my apartment here. And since I have the same setup in Kansas, I will be able to still do my work for my week at home, plus take care of things that need to be taken care of there. So then I will get back to the forge. Thanks, Phil.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
So I'll go next. So I haven't turned anything in forever. My shop's a disaster. I haven't been down there in a while, but I did take a class in flat work. So I made some cutting boards. So this little cheese board right there. It's walnut and cherry. And I've got a matching set. Super cool. And my husband actually did it with me, and he made a stunning cutting board. And I showed a picture to somebody at work, and they bought it immediately and are using it. So that was very cool. So my husband was pretty stoked about that. So he's going to start doing a little bit of flat work down in my shop, which is scary and nice because it's my shop, not his. So I guess now I got to share, which I don't know, I'm not very good at that. But anyway, so that's what I've done.
Hey, Crystal, question for you. What kind of glue do you use on your cutting boards, and what kind of finish do you put on them?
So I use Tight Bond 3, the waterproof stuff. And my finish is, what's my finish, Phil?
Danish oil.
Danish oil.
Tried and true Danish oil.
Yeah, tried and true Danish oil. So actually, my husband and I took a flat work class from Phil, and we spent a couple of days in his shop. It was pretty stellar. Learned how to use all the really cool tools. Now I have a big list for Santa, and pretty excited about that. So there you go.
Is that a food safe oil?
Oh,
it is.
It is? Okay.
So Crystal, let me jump in here as well. So I was on Instructables, I guess it was, and I saw a cutting board, and I said, well, I just have to do one of those. So
yeah.
Made this thing.
Oh my gosh.
Woo. And if you look at it, it looks rather 3D. I mean, it looks 3D.
Oh yeah. It's what they called it.
Yeah. So how much time do you have in that thing?
Flat, you know, you can see that it's flat. It's a cutting board, but you know, I just liked it for its three-dimensional effect, and it's made with walnut and with maple and cherry.
That's beautiful.
Have you used it?
Yeah, I do. I use it all the time. Now.
So now you guys just jogged my memory. I also made a cutting board or a serving board about a month ago.
Cool.
So I like that.
That's pretty cool.
Violin.
Mm-hmm.
My granddaughter takes violin lessons, so I made one, and that led to a second, and led to a third.
You can make a pizza on it.
Oh, not quite. Not quite.
Oh, if it's shaped right.
It doesn't play either, but.
That's beautiful.
Just out of curiosity, how many of us make cutting boards?
I make some.
I make.
Well, that was a.
Looks like a
You
bunch
can make
of us.
that.
Yeah.
Cutting boards are a big seller for me.
Right? Lori
wine,
makes them too.
Crystal.
She just puts legs on them.
Yeah. I have a job I'm working on at the moment that is walnut and Goncalo Alves in-grain cutting boards, and I got to make 9 of them.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those, be
Who's up
careful what
next?
you ask for.
Yeah, really. Bob Muir.
Is that violin one for sale or fiddle?
Bob, we cannot hear you.
No, it isn't.
Is there a second one for sale?
Cannot
Is
hear you,
someone
Bob.
needing one?
Do what?
Make one of those.
Is
No.
someone needing one?
I need one.
You do, huh?
Yeah, yeah. My uncle needs that. He's obsessed with everything with strings. So think on it, and if you want to sell one, I'll buy it.
Oh,
We can't hear you, Bob. Bob, we can't hear you.
Bob Muir, your mic's off. Your mic is off.
Hey, Rita.
Show your bowl.
Oh, I'll show my bowl.
She's gonna show her bowl.
I did a bowl out of sycamore, just a plain sycamore bowl, very simple. But when I finished it, the outside, the outer part, the other person that I share my shop with said that he thought there was like some very funny grain on it that didn't really, it looked like it had been faded or something, or things had been stacked on it. And although I liked it, I embellished it instead with spots so that it would camouflage all of the grain that my partner didn't like.
Perfect. Just what it needed. We have a good time out there.
That's cool.
Yeah, don't worry about sharing your shop because you can have a wonderful time sharing.
Get a room.
How did you put the spots on there?
But you'll never be able to find anything either after.
Yeah.
Rita, that bowl is just the right weight for thwacking him in the head.
Yeah. Done too. That's a different bowl.
Oh, sorry.
Snuffy Smith.
So who else have we got?
I've got a couple of pieces. Can you hear me?
All right. Yep, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I usually don't, I've done some segmented turning in the past, and I just thought since I have the time, I would do some of these pieces because they just take so much time. I really don't like to do them, but they're kind of fun. And, you know, you can spend, instead of spending an afternoon, you can spend a week on something, you know. Here's one. It's a little, this is just a little tea light with a little insert in it for oil. My wife loves those types of things. Then I got more ambitious and I decided to make one of these with a Thunderbird image on it. And it's just a bowl. It's walnut, ash, and wormy maple.
Very nice.
And it, you know, it turned out pretty well. I was amazed at how many mistakes I made during the whole process, but when it finally came out, it worked out pretty well. So it keeps me out of trouble.
Nice work.
Hi, this is Jeff Clark, the other Jeff Clark from Pittsburgh. And just in the last few months, this is kind of green bowl season for me. So this is, I get a lot of wood from, get a lot of wood from a tree guy. So I've got a lot of crotches from walnut crotches up to about 16, 17 inches in diameter, ambrosia maple, dogwood, willow, ash, hackberry, and I'm getting some hackberry to spalt now. So they're in plastic bags and they're pretty gummy looking. And hopefully in 2 or 3 months I can get them out and they'll be nice and spalted. And sometimes you can get some pretty strange designs in these things. And a few years ago I had one. When you look down inside it, there was the spalting, there was like a caricature in there, and had a picture of Lisa Simpson, Bart's sister. So that was pretty amazing, I think. And Earl Martin had mentioned something about the fluorescent lights. My son's an electrician, and I had him replace all of my fluorescent bulbs with LEDs. And I can understand why he says you need dark glasses to get into the shop. Sorry about the other phone here. But you can certainly see, that's for sure. I've also done had some online sales. Incredibly, people are at home now, so they can get on Etsy and actually buy stuff. So been involved in that, and also some private sales. One of the things I've been, because I'm out of them, that I've started to sell or start to make rather, are these lamps. And I don't know if you can see this very well.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. So these are kind of put it on the side. Maybe you can see it a little better. But these things, I've shown these before to the club, but they're about they're made from a block of wood that's about 6 by 6 by 13. And this one isn't completed yet. I mean, the turning is done and the finishing is done, but of course they have to drill a 1/2-inch hole down the center and then put all the brass fittings and all that in it, and then it will be a complete lamp. And this thing is heavy. I mean, it's a solid piece of wood. You can see that it's laminated, and I probably use about 20 different kinds of woods in my lamps, and at least. And a couple of years ago, I got into using veneers. I don't have, in fact, the lamp I had that had veneers in it, I just sold that a few days ago. But, you know, when we had the fellow from Chapel Hill, I can never remember his name, the guy who came out and showed us how to do veneers. Anyway, I got some inspiration from him and went back to the guys out there in Lexington, North Carolina, Sauer, to get a bunch of veneers. And so the next one I show, hopefully we'll be getting together some of these days, you'll have all the veneers in there too, and those come out really beautiful. And these things are heavy. Maybe your Maine Coon cat can knock it over, but other than that, it's going to take a lion or a tiger to knock these things over. They probably got to weigh about 5 or 8 pounds or something like that. And they're a lot of fun to turn, and you get a different look. That's why I keep turning it around here. You get a different look every time you turn it around. So that depending on how far you go into the block, you'll get a different color of wood. And sometimes the piece of wood, if you can see this or not, see if I can do it. There's a piece of yellow heart here, and that same yellow heart is down here. So I've just gouged out here in between there, and so you have a piece of, not sure what that is, maybe purple heart there in between them, but that's the same piece of yellow heart. And same thing with this brown wood here, and you see the extension of it down here. So anyway, I've sold a bunch of these over the past 15 years, I guess, but they're a lot of fun to make, and I've done a lot of different things with different designs to make them a little more aesthetically pleasing than the first ones I made. Anyway, so that's about it. The green bowls hopefully will be dry, so I can start turning those probably in June or July, and there'll be all kinds of nice bowls that come out of that. Most of the wood I've gotten from my wood guy are crotch pieces. So that's he's given me so much wood over the years that that's about all I'm asking for now. And if he could ever find any burls, I'd love to have those too, but those are really hard to come by. But I've got crotch wood of all different kinds of woods now, and they're all like I say, they're all in a bag drying out, and they'll be ready to use here pretty soon. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. Ron, turn your mic on.
Okay, am I on now?
There you go.
Okay.
Got you.
Edgar Ingram, who has been a member of the club, lives in Statesville, called me one day and said, I have some cherry here. Would you like a log? And so I went over and got a couple of logs that I was able to cut in two. And so I've been turning a lot of platters, and in the end of March, a friend of mine who doesn't go to church on a Sunday morning brought me some walnuts. So I've been turning a lot of platters. And this is one that I turned for my wife for Mother's Day, and it had a lot of cracks in it whenever I got into it. So I ended up, I don't know whether you can see the green here. I ended up doing some filling of cracks, and it turned out really beautifully. I didn't think I'd be able to get it smoothed out because it got to wobbling a lot on me because of the weakness of the cracks. But I ended up putting some stuff in, and it turned out really, really nicely. And,
what'd you fill the cracks with?
Actually, I won some vials of some stone at one of the meetings, and I don't know what they are. Some of them are sort of a pinkish, and some of them are a bluish and a greenish, and so I used whatever that is with just some clean spore white glue, and it worked beautifully. So anyway, she was pleased with that. And then at John C. Campbell, a couple of years ago, I took a Ern's class with a guy from Atlanta. And so I turned this, and then it just sat around in the shop forever, and I never pulled it back out to finish it. And so I ended up pulling it out and finishing it and putting a collar on it and a little top, and it turned out really nicely. Very well proportioned between the wood and the heartwood. And Greg Pritchard taught that class.
Hold it up a little higher, Ron.
Okay.
There you go. That's better.
And I used a piece of cherry that I've probably had in my shop for, I can't tell you how long, probably 40 years. And it's a totally different color of cherry than the wild cherry for my collar and my top. I used to work at Butner years ago, and when I was there, I collected a lot of boards that are walnut and cherry, and it's a very red cherry as opposed to the brown cherry that you get with the wild cherry. But I have turned, since I've been home, I've turned probably 20 platters and bowls. So I've been very busy, except for today. Today I've been sorry and haven't done anything. Haven't even been in the shop yet. So that's for me.
Well, get up and get yourself out to the shop.
I have to tell you, the dark cherry is grown up north. The red cherry is grown down south in the red dirt.
Ah,
Totally different.
Okay.
red dirt.
Mm-hmm. it affects walnut too. Walnuts it gets a chocolate color. If you want really dark black walnut, you have to go to New York or Pennsylvania, Ohio.
Actually, this walnut that I've just turned, some pieces end up being light and some pieces end up being very dark.
I don't know about that, but the color, you can tell right away. The other thing you can tell is by the grain. The grain, trees grow much faster down here. And walnut and any kind of tree, if you look at it close, unless it's grown in the middle of the woods somewhere, it's much closer grain. You know, another thing that would help the whole situation here, I know this is my first time on, but on speaker view, whoever's talking comes up in full size here. If you're not speaking, if you would turn your mic off, if you make any kind of noise, you blink into the thing. It changes the view of the thing. When somebody's showing something, you see somebody else sitting there doing nothing, it might help. Bob Muir, you had a demo. You showed your piece, but you didn't have your mic on. We didn't hear anything you were talking about, I don't think.
I don't believe Bob can hear us.
Okay, if anybody, I'll go. This is Jim Terry. I had a piece of cherry burl. It was really kind of thin. I wasn't sure it was going to be thick enough to do anything, but I decided just to turn a little wall hanging out of it.
If you want me to, I'll go in the other room.
Turned up pretty good. Did that come up on the screen?
Hold it a little higher. Thank you.
There we go.
Nice.
Now turn it around.
Got a little hook on the back of it so it can be a wall hanging. And did a couple other things. I've done little vases. I'll see if I can hold this one up in front of it. You can see it. Got a scallop top and a couple of colors of green blended into it. And I did one other one's plain top, but it's a couple of colors of red blended into it. So, been turning a bunch of pieces, but nothing really particular. Just go out and building and find a piece of wood and come back and see what I can do with it.
Do you airbrushed all your color?
Yeah, they're all airbrushed. Airbrushed, the dye is airbrushed on. And then on these pieces, I've got an airbrush with a 1 millimeter nozzle that I can airbrush some of the DEF's water-based material, kind of their water-based version of a lacquer. It works pretty good. Get about 3 good coats on it and then rub it out with 4-aught steel wool and then polish it out with finesse it or something. Works a lot better if you can you can leave it on the lathe and rotate it on the lathe and spray the final finish on there. That way you can put a good heavy finish on and not worry about it running.
Yeah, Jim, I like to say, try to find what's hiding inside a piece of wood on the lathe.
Try to sit back, Luke.
Try to see what's hiding inside that piece of wood on the lathe.
Right.
occasionally you find a half a worm hiding in there.
The other half of it is all over your face mask.
Well, yeah, there is that.
If you have a face mask on.
Yeah, right.
Hopefully.
We got anybody else? Well, folks, I don't know about you, but I've had fun.
It's been interesting.
Yeah. Of course, it doesn't take much to keep me amused either. Anyhow, Crystal, one more time, thank you very, very much. And we will certainly thank you in person when we do manage to get back in person.
Welcome. Thank you.
Somebody needs to step up. Okay? Let us know what we can do to make your life easier. If you want to talk to Crystal about how the job of getting demonstrators in is done, that's fine. Jim Duxbury has also done that. I've done that. I think Bob Muir has done that. I'm not sure. But anyhow, any of us would be, Bob shaking his head no. All right. We'd certainly be willing to talk to you about how that's done, right, and how that works.
We would. So I'll interject here. Hang on a second, Jim. Yeah. So I think that times have changed with COVID. Our next several meetings would probably be on Zoom, and vetting some of these guys takes time. You've got to watch their setup, their demos. I told a few folks, Trent Bosch did a really great one, and he's got 3 cameras, and it's fantastic to watch. He's about 2.5 hours, so that's really long. I watched Laurent Niclot do one. He was phenomenal, but he had 1 camera, maybe 2, and it was choppy and, all the way across the pond in France. So I just don't have the time to vet these guys like that. For you guys, I just don't. So maybe somebody who's got time has seen some YouTube videos of some fantastic turners. Maybe they're doing Zoom meetings. I don't know. But I think probably for a good while, we'll be doing Zoom meetings until we can safely meet again. So whoever's got capability to vet that next demonstrator, please help out.
What's the quality of our library videos? The ones that we years ago recorded at the meetings.
There.
Lana?
Yeah. Bob, are you still with us?
Bob Muir would be the best to comment. What? The quality.
Comment on the quality of the library videos.
Or is somebody asking me a question?
Yes, Bob. Can you comment on the quality of the library's videos?
The quality?
Yeah.
The ones that were taken at the meetings.
Am I coming through?
Yes, you are.
Okay. The DVD recorder has got some years on it. So the quality, actual video quality, is just determined by the cameras used and the DVD recorder. The cameras we're using right now are all high definition, but the format, for some reason, for the DVD is not 9:16 or whatever the modern format is. It's a little smaller than that. So things are somewhat more narrow than they would normally be. But other than that, I think they're okay.
Okay.
We've got working on a list of some that we need to make backup copies for. And somebody, Luke, I guess, has looked into some to what's involved in putting them up on the web where people in the club can view them. But I'm really not up on the results of that last survey. The issue that we ran into before, Bob, is the format of the DVDs versus the format that YouTube will accept. And you've done some tests, and it was a real long time per video. And basically, we've got to research that a little bit more.
I'm not too sure.
I can't hear very well, so I'm not sure what's being said.
I'm not.
Audio is not working well.
I'm not too sure what the quality means, but as far as learning how to wood turn or picking up a new idea, they're excellent. I've looked at them more than once, many times.
Right. If we could find someone who could take the time and had the expertise to edit these things and edit out everything except the demonstration itself, then we might be better served putting that up on the web. Because I'm not certain that we need to put my, have you heard about the guy who walked into the lumberyard looking for a 4x2? I don't know that we need to put that on the web 38 times.
Well, I have done some of it. Some of the videos I have tried to edit, and I'm not fully experienced at editing, but it is a real pain in the butt to do the editing. It takes time. You have to play it, replay it, find a place, cut it. It's not fun.
Right. Yeah, like I said, we need somebody who has both the time and the expertise to pull that off. That is not a job for an amateur. Put that in quotes.
I don't know that would happen, Jim. It's just there's just it's too much work. It really is. Editing is.
I'm not too sure there's that much demand for it either. They're not flying off the shelf here.
That's true. That's true. It'd be a shame to put 10,000 hours into it and then have 5 hours worth of watching.
Well, that's why I was asking to see if there was something that we recorded 7 years ago that we could play at a meeting, at a Zoom meeting.
You'd probably really want to pick a specialty one and narrow it down to 1 or 2 or 3 and not a bunch of them.
Yeah, that's a good idea, though. That's worthy of further consideration.
Woodturners Guild a couple of weeks ago played one from, I think it was the first one they recorded, 2008. It was somebody Ray
Key?
No, I can't remember his name now, but it was rough because they didn't have the sound issues worked out. One camera, they were moving around. It was a lot of jerk, but it was still interesting to watch.
That was Ray Key.
Ray Key, thank you. That's right.
Mm.
And he was doing a bowl. And it's the first time I've ever seen anybody rough turn the outside of the bowl and then do a glue block. He glue blocked the bottom of the bowl and then finished the inside that way.
Those guys learned to turn before chucks were ever made. Okay? So there's a lot of difference. He also got paid. I think I was at that demo when he did it at Al Leland shop. I think he got paid $1 an inch to make those things. So they're more like, it's production turning. Those guys turn in their sleep. Jim, there's an auction going on too that was kind of interesting. There's some neat stuff. Somebody in Greensboro?
Yes, yes.
Jim Stone.
Right. And what they're doing is his wife is in need of funds. Let's put it that way. And this auction is raising money for her. So we sent the link out. We sent the link out to everybody. Take a look at it. See what you can find in there.
Tonight's the last night on it, I think. Also, there's going to be other, this is the first of the auction. somewhere it said there's more than one auction. There's many pieces. In fact, I didn't even see a lathe. There's some other things that are kind of interesting.
Right, right. I didn't see a lathe in there either.
No, I didn't see the lathe either, but there's a lot of stuff there.
There is. Okay, have we reached an end?
I think so.
I think maybe we have.
We
Folks, take good care. Be safe. Wash your hands. We'll see you back here on Zoom in a month.
All right.
Very good.
Thank
Take care.
Folks. Thank you, Jim.
Good.
Good meeting.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Bye.
Bye now. Take care, Bob.